Welcome, vinyl community. This is Bill here in cold but dry at present Scotland, from Aberdeen in particular. And today I want to show you our David Bowie collection. This is a combined collection of my wife Valerie and my own collections of David Bowie. When we first met, we had David Bowie and The Who and the Rolling Stones in common in our record collections. So we have a few duplicates, and indeed Valerie has some vinyl albums, the original pressings that didn't form part of my collection. But I'm going to do something different today compared to my other videos. And this time I'm going to do in a worst to best of David Bowie. And so here goes. So first up, I haven't counted these, so I don't know how many I have or we have. And the other thing is that there is a gap, not surprisingly, between Modern Love in the mid-80s and The Next Day. So any fans of Tin Machine and Heathen and Earthling and these albums, which I think was when maybe the regular fans, or the fans that had grown up with him during the late 60s, 70s and 80s, maybe Bowie fell out of favor. I think he'd set the bar so high that some people didn't like some of the more experimental and Tin Machine recordings. So if you're looking for those, you'll be disappointed. But here we go. So first of all, I'm going to show you Diamond Dogs. This is the sort of Orwellian concept and features the singles Rebel Rebel and Diamond Dogs, of course, and features also with the nod to George Orwell in 1984, and also as a track called Big Brother. Next up, in the ordering that I've come up with, this one is quite low, but I've mentioned Pin-Ups before, and I think this is really quite an underrated album. I love his nods to The Who. You get I Can't Explain and what else? Anywhere, Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere. And I think Bowie does an excellent version of See Emily Play. And my favorite on the album is Friday on My Mind, which is a track I love by the original Easy Beats. And I think, yeah, Mick Ronson still plays on this album, even though the Spiders from Mars as a band had been split up prior to this. But yeah, Sorrow was the single from this album. Next up, Station to Station, David Bowie, and Golden Years is the track that most people will know on this album from the mid-70s, 76. And yeah, Station to Station and TVC 15. Great tracks. Now, you'll forgive me the pun in this one, but I bought this next album during lockdown, and I got it through my Amazon Prime subscription. So of course I got next day delivery. So this has got The Stars Are Out Tonight, and also Valentine's Day and Dancing Out in Space. So this is the one where Bowie came back to form in 2013. So David Bowie, The Next Day. And I think there's some interesting documentaries on the album cover design for this. So this is obviously a take on the Heroes album, and he's taped over the navel or the title Heroes, and also put this big white square with the album title on it. Next up, The Man Who Sold the World, which does have The Width of a Circle as the opening track, but has got The Man Who Sold the World, and we have the Black Country Rock and She Shook Me Cold. And this album was produced by Tony Visconti and has, you know, the classic lineup with Mick Ronson on guitar and Woody Woodsmansey on drums. And well, it's not the classic lineup because it has Tony Visconti playing bass in this particular album. Now, of course, what you're really looking for if you're a vinyl collector is the alternate cover to this, the one with David Bowie in the dress. And if you can lay your hands on that one, that's worth a good bit more. But yeah, Width of a Circle is a great track on this album. And then next up, I have Space Oddity. And this has got some great tracks on it. So we've got, as well as the title track and the nod to the Race to the Moon, we also have Memory of a Free Festival, Janine, and we have, you know, Letter to Hermione was one of his early girlfriends. And in 1968, Space Oddity was one of the records of the year. Now, so let's count down my top 8. So we have, next up is David Bowie's Low, one of the Berlin trilogy. And this one has Art Decade, Breaking Glass, The Fantastic Sound and Vision. And yeah, we also have Subterraneans and Varsava. So this was again produced with Tony Visconti, and also there's help from Brian Eno on this. And this album from 1977 is way up there, but that's number 8 in my list. Number 7 is one from 1983. And this has got China Girl with lyrics and music by David Bowie and Iggy Pop. And we've also got on this album Modern Love with lyrics by Bowie, and Let's Dance, which is one of the great dance tracks of the 80s. And who have we got on this playing on this album. Bass, we've got Carmine Rojas, drums, Omar Hakim and Tony Thompson, guitar, the wonderful Nile Rodgers, lead guitar, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and keyboards, Rob Sabino. And we've also got credits for woodwind instruments and backing vocals. And horn arrangements were by David Bowie and Nile Rodgers. Great album with the hit singles of China Girl, Let's Dance, and Modern Love, as it says on the sticker. And I would say this is where I sort of bookend early Bowie and miss out the less than optimal albums up to The Next Day. Then, Bowie changed his image all the time. He didn't stand still at all. And this one, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps from 1980 is fantastic. We've got Up the Hill Backwards. Scary Monsters and Super Creeps has got some wonderful sort of electronics going on, and Ashes to Ashes, Fashion. Yeah, that side one of this album is just great. Credits, we've got Carlos Alomar on guitars. We've got Robert Fripp of King Crimson on guitar and on Fashion, It's No Game, Scary Monsters, Kingdom Come, Up the Hill Backwards, and Teenage Wildlife. And also on this, we have Pete Townsend on Because You're Young. And I was going to also recommend you this book. There are lots of other Bowie biographies, but this one, Tony Visconti's autobiography called Bowie, Bolan and the Brooklyn Boy, is very insightful into the way these records were produced, some of the ideas, and there is a section about the recording of Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, and Because You're Young, they invited Pete Townsend into the studio. I think it was one of the New York studios, and Townsend asked, well, what do you want to do? What do you want me to do? And they said, well, do some of your chords. And he said, which chords do you want me to play? And they said, no, just do your chords, the power chords. So Townsend did the power chords, and I don't know how many minutes of power chords they recorded, and then they must have overdubbed some of his work onto the Because You're Young track. And I think the only thing that Townsend wanted was a bottle of red wine to help him lubricate his hands before he played the power chords for Because You're Young. This book also has reference to Mary Hopkins, who was Tony Visconti's wife, and she was, of course, a solo singer in her own right. With those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end, and you're maybe not aware of it, but I think Mary Hopkins sings on one of the tracks on one of the albums in the Berlin trilogy. So highly recommended book, very interesting. And there's also stories about Mark Bolan, and also how the Thin Lizzy live album isn't quite as live as you would expect. So I think that was, my countdown's probably not very good. I think that was number 7. And I think I'm now going to jump to a CD and Bowie's final album, Black Star, which I must get on vinyl. This is a fantastic album. Makes it very difficult for me to read the lyrics, but it's got, you know, Lazarus, Dollar Days, I Can't Give Everything Away. And it was recorded in late 2015 ahead of Bowie. Well, it was recorded when Bowie was very ill, but the sort of avant-garde jazz band that accompanies Bowie on this are just fantastic. Really, really good album. Very black, very dark panels on the inner packaging of Black Star. Right, let's see, that's number 6. So I thought it was number 6, that was number 5. So we're into my top 4 Bowie albums. And next up is Heroes. So again, we've got Carlos Alomar on rhythm guitar, Dennis Davis on percussion, Eno on synthesizers, keyboards, and guitar treatments, and Robert Fripp on lead guitar. And this was recorded at Hansa by the Wall in Berlin, and I believe is the first in the Berlin trilogy. So apologies if I'm getting some of these the wrong way around, but yes, we have, again, Beauty and the Beast on side A, followed by Joe the Lion, then Heroes, which is one of the anthems of the rock catalogue, of the whole rock catalogue, not just Bowie's. And yeah, there's a credit to The Secret Life of Arabia, which has lyrics by Bowie and music by Bowie, Eno, and Alomar. But yeah, and Eno is co-credited as the writer on 2 more tracks on side B. RCA record label, not the orange one, but a sort of beigey colored one. And it's from 1977. 3 more to go. And I'm going to let you into a little secret about this one. This was a Christmas present to me in 73. And my mum used to have what we in Scotland, maybe in the UK, call a clubby book. Our friends across the pond in North America would call it a mail order catalogue. And clubby books were such that you could buy items and pay for them over a period of 20 weeks or 40 weeks, so weekly installments. So my mum would get dresses and blouses, and I would ask for records, but it was for a Christmas present. And the year in question, I knew when the records had actually been delivered. So when my parents were out, we opened some of these records we were going to get as Christmas presents. Very naughty, very naughty. Good job Santa didn't know. And we would play them on the turntable for a couple of weeks before the actual receiving the gift on Christmas Day. So, but this is Bowie at his best with, you just need to read the track listing. We have Watch That Man, Aladdin Sane, which has, I didn't know that the full title is Aladdin Sane, open bracket, 1913-1938-197 and a question mark after it. And then Drive-In Saturday, which was the single, and then Panic in Detroit, Cracked Actor. And on side 2, we had Time, which has got some interesting vocabulary, which I probably wasn't aware of until I heard the track. And then there's The Prettiest Star, a great cover of Jagger and Richards' Let's Spend the Night Together, with some very avant-garde piano playing on it. And then the wonderful, the marvelous Jean Genie, which was a second single off the album, and concluding with Lady Grinning Soul. The great gatefold with David Bowie and the lightning bolts on it. This is actually my wife's copy. So it's got the black and white photo, and it looks like a facsimile of the David Bowie, and I met a note to the fans. And on this one, you can quickly see there's the application form to the David Bowie official fan club, and says completing and returning this application form with a check or postal order. I don't know if our friends in the UK remember postal orders. And this is after decimalisation, so the postal order is for 55 pence, and that includes postage and packaging. And I'm just looking through, you had to also give your favorite recording artists and details of your type of work and position. So my wife's put down student at the Aberdeen College of Education, and her favorite recording artists at the time are David Bowie, Mick Ronson, Sparks, the Incredible String Band, Lou Reed, and Bridget St. John. And you'd also to give details of your favorite film and TV stars. So my wife's put down John Finch, Malcolm McDowell, George Chakras, Tony Curtis, and Dirk Bogarde. So, and there's even details of Valerie's phone number at the time. So I better put this back safely. And of course, inside we have all the lyrics. So time, he's waiting in the wings. He speaks of senseless things. His script is you and me, boy. And then the next 3 lines are ones that included words that I wasn't familiar with at the time. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. 2 to go. And next up is one of the best concept and complete all killer, no filler albums in Bowie's catalogue and in the rock catalogue in general. So Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. So recorded in 1972. This has got the inner sleeve with the classic lineup of David Bowie, Mick Woodmansey, Trevor Bolder, and Mick Ronson, the supreme guitarist from Hull. And again, it's got all the lyrics printed on the inner sleeve. And we've got the opening of the saga with 5 years left for the world before it dies. I saw boys, toys, electric cars, and TVs. My brain hurt like a warehouse. It had no room to spare. I had to cram so many things to store everything in there. Yeah. And then we go on to Soul Love, Moon Age Daydream, Starman, and yeah, anybody living in the UK, the Starman on Top of the Pops in 72 is one of the iconic moments in television and rock history, and just amazing to see Bowie with his arms around Mick Ronson, and they're singing into the shared microphone. And yeah, great tracks. You know, we can pick them up on Channel 2 as well. Yeah. There we have number 2 in my list of, I think that was 14 albums that I've got here. And my go-to Bowie album, Hunky Dory. This is just, again, the whole 10 tracks on this are just wonderful. So we have Changes, we have Oh You Pretty Things, which was covered by Peter Noone of Herman's Hermits, and then 8-line poem, and then Life on Mars. Again, the lyrics on Life on Mars are just fantastic. This has got a very folksy feel to it. And yeah, Life on Mars, one of the Bowie classic singles. And then you've got his tribute to his son, Zoe Bowie, or Zoe Bowie, or Zowie Bowie, depends. I think in the UK we call him David Bowie, and on the other side of the pond, he's referred to as David Bowie. So again, we've got a nice lyric sheet inside. And we've got on side 2, we've got Fill Your Heart. We've got Andy Warhol, Song for Bob Dylan, or is that Robert Zimmerman? And Queen Bitch, which has got a great riff to it. I used to remember sort of jumping about at home and bouncing off the walls listening to Queen Bitch. And then the Bewley Brothers finishes off side 2. So again, this album was produced by Ken Scott, and it was also, so it was before the Tony Visconti era. And one of the other sort of claims to fame on Hunky Dory is Rick Wakeman played the piano on it. So I think at one point Bowie wanted Rick Wakeman to join his group, but Rick decided to join Yes instead. And then he went on to have a sort of solo career with the the Six Wives of Henry VIII, and the ones mentioning King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, which was something that I think that Rick Wakeman took out on tour on ice rinks, and they had people skating around, and Rick Wakeman would be wearing his cape and playing all these different keyboards in the background. So a bit of a side from David Bowie, but that's my look back at our record collection, Valerie and mine. And yeah, we had a lot of duplicates, but we've held on to them, and Valerie has that Aladdin Sane with the application form for the fan club. But I guess because she's filled in the application form, it's maybe not quite as valuable as if it had been in pristine condition with no writing on it. But there you are. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at our David Bowie collection, and a countdown from 14 to number 1, and this is the number 1. So this is the last day of 2020. It's been a terrible year for the whole world, and let's hope that 2021 and the rollout of the vaccines will make all our lives return to a bit of normality. Just an addendum, I should have read this book more thoroughly before I started the video, but this is a great magazine from the Long Live Vinyl magazine publishers, and this has got album by album look through Bowie's career. So it even includes Heathen and Hours and various other ones that I didn't cover in my countdown. And on the back cover, there's album covers of all the different albums that David Bowie has produced in his wonderful career. And this has got Discogs pricing information in it as well as some really good photographs of Bowie in different stages of his career. So bye for now. All the best for 2021. Thank you, vinyl community. And it's a goodbye from me, and it's a goodbye from him. Bye.